The war had ended, but its scars still ran deep. Cities on Earth were only slowly rebuilding, and millions of families mourned loved ones who would never return. Humanity had survived the Orion War, but barely. Whole colonies had been destroyed, and the memory of those fiery skies haunted everyone who had lived through them. On some nights, the wind that blew across Earth carried with it the echoes of explosions and screams from worlds far beyond. Captain Aaron Blake stood on the balcony of the Human Alliance headquarters in New York. His uniform was crisp, but his eyes were tired. He had seen too much too young. His hands rested on the railing as he looked at the rebuilt city below. Smoke no longer rose from ruined buildings, but the emptiness in the streets reminded him of everything lost. The faces of the people he had failed to save haunted him. Aaron had been a hero in the war. He had led countless missions to defend human colonies and had survived attacks that had killed entire squads. But heroism did not erase the memories of friends dying in his arms. He remembered his brother Matthew, who had been on the first colony to fall. The last message Matthew had sent was a short one. "We can't hold them, Aaron, I'm sorry." That message had burned into his mind, a scar that would never fade. Inside the headquarters, Dr. Laura Bennett prepared her notes for a meeting. She was one of the few humans who still believed in peace. Her hair was tied neatly and her eyes were sharp, reflecting the determination that had made her a respected diplomat. Unlike Aaron, Laura had never fired a weapon in anger, but she had fought wars of words trying to make the galaxy understand that humanity could be trusted. Today, the Galactic Council had sent a message. They requested a summit on Epsilon Prime. For the first time since the war, they were asking humanity to forgive them. They wanted to talk about peace. Laura looked at Aaron when he entered the room. "They want to meet," she said quietly. "They want to apologize." Aaron shook his head. "Apologize?" His voice was harsh. "Do you know what they did? They called us monsters. They attacked our colonies. Millions of people are dead, Laura. Do you think words can change that?" Laura did not answer immediately. She had heard this anger 100 times before. She knew the pain, but she also knew that the galaxy was changing. Another threat was rising, and the time for grudges might not last forever. "I know it's hard, Aaron, but this could be a chance to stop more bloodshed, to make sure no one suffers like we did." Aaron looked away, staring at the horizon. "A chance? They didn't give us a chance before. They tried to destroy us. Do you think I can just forget that?" Laura sighed and set her notes down. "No one expects you to forget, but maybe we can survive without hating them completely. Maybe we can choose to be better than the war made us." The journey to Epsilon Prime would be long and dangerous, even in times of peace. The galaxy was still littered with remnants of warships, rogue factions, and hidden mines left over from the battles. Aaron was assigned as the captain of the convoy transporting the human delegation. It was a position of honor, but also one of danger. He would be responsible not just for the diplomats, but for the lives of every crew member under his command. Lieutenant Nora Adams boarded the ship just before departure. She was young, barely out of training, but her resolve was clear. Her parents had died during the first attack on her home colony, and she carried their memory like a banner. She approached Aaron nervously. "Captain Blake," she said, "I've been assigned to your convoy. I'll follow your orders." Aaron studied her for a moment. She reminded him of himself once, determined, angry, and unwilling to let the galaxy forget what had been done to her. "Welcome aboard, Lieutenant," he said. "This is going to be a long journey. Keep your wits about you." Nora nodded. "I always do." As the convoy prepared to leave Earth's orbit, the Human Alliance broadcast a message to all colonies. It was short and clear. "Humanity will meet the Galactic Council on Epsilon Prime. This is not forgiveness. This is survival." The message carried the weight of history. People across the galaxy knew that humanity had the power to strike, and they knew that it would not forgive lightly. The journey through space was tense. Aaron walked the deck of the main ship, the Liberty, thinking about what awaited them. He remembered the Council's words during the war. "Humanity is a virus. It cannot be controlled. It must be destroyed. Those words had sparked a rage that had driven humans to unleash weapons the galaxy had never imagined. Entire star systems had been scorched. The Council had surrendered not because humanity wanted peace, but because humanity had shown that it would not be stopped. Laura tried to keep the delegation focused. They were scientists, politicians, and diplomats, not soldiers. Most had never been near a battlefield, yet they were being asked to negotiate with the very species that had nearly wiped them out. She could see the fear in their eyes, but also the determination. Humanity had survived because they never gave up. They would survive this summit too. As the convoy passed through the outer rim, sensors picked up anomalies. Rogue asteroids had drifted into common trade routes, remnants of the war's destruction. Aaron adjusted the ship's course carefully. Nothing unusual, he muttered, though he did not believe it. Space was never quiet. There was always danger. One night, Aaron sat alone in the observation deck. Stars stretched infinitely before him, cold and distant. He thought about Matthew again, about all the lives lost, and about the humans who still believed in peace. Laura had asked him to consider forgiveness, but how could he forgive the beings who had burned entire worlds? How could he trust them again? Then he thought about the future. If humanity did not at least hear the Council out, the galaxy might face another war, one even more devastating. The idea of leaving others to die when they could be helped gnawed at him. But the thought of being betrayed again was worse. In the quiet of space, Aaron realized he carried two burdens, the weight of the past and the fear of the future. Both demanded action, but both were painful. The convoy finally approached Epsilon Prime. The planet was beautiful, with green oceans and towering crystal cities. It seemed peaceful, almost too peaceful. Aaron did not trust it. History had taught him that appearances could be deceiving. The human delegation landed, escorted by armed guards. The Council representatives waited in a massive hall made of shimmering metal and glass. Chancellor Virel of the Threx, a tall being with scales that gleamed like silver, stepped forward. His voice was calm, but heavy with remorse. "We have come to ask for forgiveness," he said. "We know we cannot undo the past, but we hope for a future together." The humans remained silent. Admiral Karen Holt, the leader of the delegation, did not smile. She looked at Virel with eyes cold and hard. "Forgiveness is earned," she said. "We do not forgive easily, and we do not forget. Humanity survived because we never let anyone destroy us. Remember that." Aaron felt a chill run down his spine. He had expected anger, but not this sharpness. The words were true. They survived, yes, but the cost had been unbearable. He glanced at Laura, who looked both hopeful and anxious. She had wanted peace, but even she could not ignore the pain etched on every face. The Council opened the meeting with images of their own losses. They showed cities destroyed by the Voran Dominion decades ago, families torn apart by war. They begged humanity to see them not as enemies, but as victims too. Aaron watched carefully. He wanted to believe in peace, to see humanity rise above vengeance. But he saw only the memories of fire, of screams, of Matthew's final words. Could humanity ever truly forgive? Could he? The delegation's silence stretched, thick and heavy. Each human remembered the war in their own way. Some thought of lost homes. Others thought of friends and family who had died in firestorms and explosions. The Council's plea hung in the air, but the humans did not respond. Forgiveness was not something given lightly. It had to be chosen, and for now, humanity was not ready. Aaron finally stepped forward, his voice steady. "We are here to listen," he said. "Not to forgive. Not yet. But we will listen. That is enough for now." Chancellor Virel inclined his head. He had expected no more. The first step toward understanding was not forgiveness. It was acknowledgement. The road ahead would be long, and the stars were patient. As the meeting ended for the day, Aaron looked at Laura. "We are walking a dangerous path," he said quietly. "One misstep and it could all start again." Laura nodded. I know. But maybe, just maybe, it can be different this time. Humanity survived the war. Maybe we can survive ourselves too. Aaron did not answer. He gazed out of the window at the alien stars. Somewhere out there in the vastness of space, the galaxy waited, and humanity, scarred and angry, would have to decide how far it was willing to go to protect what remained, and whether it could ever truly forgive. The stars outside Epsilon, Prime, sparkled cold and distant, and for the first time in a long time, Aaron wondered what it really meant to be human. The convoy stayed in orbit around Epsilon Prime for 2 days. The human delegation settled into the Council's space station, a massive structure of steel and glass that floated above the planet like a silent sentinel. The station's corridors were wide and bright, filled with beings from many worlds. Every corner reminded the humans that the galaxy was larger and stranger than they had imagined. Yet every strange face also reminded them of the war they had survived. Lieutenant Nora Adams moved quickly through the corridors of the Liberty, the ship assigned to carry the delegation. She had grown restless during the long travel through space. Every system they passed, every planet they approached, brought memories of what had been lost. Her parents had died when the Threx attacked her home colony. She had been just a child. Since then, her life had been defined by training, preparation, and a quiet, burning anger. Aaron Blake noticed her as she checked the ship's systems. "Lieutenant," he said, approaching her, "you've been quiet since we arrived. What's on your mind?" Nora looked up sharply. "Captain Blake, I've been thinking about the summit. About the Council. About what they want from us. I don't trust them." "Not for a second," Aaron nodded slowly. "I don't blame you. Trust is something you earn, and the Council has not earned it." He paused. "But we are here now. That alone is dangerous. The galaxy watches us. Everything we do matters," Nora frowned. "I know, sir. I don't want to see humanity give mercy to those who tried to destroy us. We've lost too much." Aaron's eyes softened. "I understand. We all have lost too much. That is why we have to be careful. Not everyone sees the world the same way we do. Not everyone wants revenge. But if we act without thought, we could destroy more than we save." Meanwhile, in the council chambers, Chancellor Virel prepared his own team. They knew the humans would not forgive easily. Virel, a tall Threx with scales that shone like molten silver, paced back and forth. His advisors whispered about past mistakes and the power of human anger. "We must show them sincerity," Virel said. "If they reject us entirely, we risk more than shame. The Vorin Dominion is rising. If humanity refuses to help, the galaxy may fall again." Another Threx, smaller and nervous, spoke. "Chancellor, humans are unpredictable. They survived the Orion War. They are strong, but their anger is unmatched. They may strike first, even before they speak." Virel stopped pacing. "Yes, that is why we must show weakness. Not weakness of power, but of regret. We must make them see that we too suffered. We must make them see that we are not the monsters they believe us to be." Back on the human side, the delegation prepared for the first meeting. Dr. Laura Bennett tried to calm her colleagues. "Listen carefully," she said. "This is not a negotiation about forgiveness. This is about understanding. Keep your anger in check, but do not let fear control you." Admiral Karen Holt, the leader of the delegation, remained silent. Her eyes scanned the room, taking in every face. Soldiers, scientists, diplomats. They were all here for one purpose: to decide how humanity would respond. Holt had no illusions about the Council's intentions. She knew they wanted mercy, but she also knew her people would not give it easily. The first meeting began in a grand hall. Beings from dozens of worlds filled the room. The humans entered last, their faces set and calm. Chancellor Virel bowed slightly. "Welcome," he said. "We ask only to speak. We do not expect forgiveness. We only ask to be heard." Aaron watched every movement of the council members. His hands rested on the railing of the chamber. The Threx and other representatives spoke with careful words, emphasizing their suffering, their losses, and their desire for peace. They showed images of destroyed worlds, grieving families, and orphaned children. Nora Adams could not hide her reaction. Her fists clenched at her sides. "They are trying to make us pity them," she whispered to Aaron. "Do you see this?" Aaron nodded. "I see it, yes. But pity is not the same as forgiveness. Remember that." Laura Bennett stepped forward, her voice calm and steady. "We hear your words. We understand that you suffered. But understand this as well. The humans you see before you survived because we did not forgive lightly. We survived because we remembered every city you destroyed, every family you lost, and every child who died because of your attacks. The council members lowered their heads slightly. They expected anger, but not the sharpness of these words. They had thought humanity might be softened by time, but the humans had not forgotten. Varel spoke again, his voice quieter. We know we cannot undo the past, but perhaps we can prevent another tragedy. The Voran Dominion rises in the Outer Rim. Their power grows every day. If they are not stopped, they will destroy everything we know. Aaron felt the tension in the room grow. The humans had survived one war, but the threat of another loomed over them. He glanced at Nora. She still looked angry, her eyes burning with the memory of her lost parents. Do you hear them? He asked. They are warning us, Nora shook her head. I hear words, Captain. Words do not save lives. Actions do, and their actions almost destroyed us once. Why should we trust them now? The debate continued for hours. Scientists presented data, soldiers prepared security measures, and diplomats tried to find words that could bridge centuries of hatred. Yet no solution seemed possible. Humanity had survived, but at a cost so high that no apology could erase it. During a break, Aaron and Laura walked in the observation deck. Outside, Epsilon Prime glowed under the light of its sun. The planet was beautiful, almost peaceful, but it was also a reminder of what humans had fought to protect. Laura spoke softly. Aaron, I know it is hard, but maybe listening is the first step. Maybe understanding that they are afraid too can help us prepare. Aaron shook his head. Laura, I am trying. But every time I see them, I remember the screams. I remember my brother. I remember every life taken. How can I just ignore that? Laura placed a hand on his arm. You don't have to ignore it. You just have to decide what comes next. Anger kept us alive once. Maybe it can guide us now, but maybe, just maybe, mercy can guide us further. Aaron looked out at the stars. I want to believe that, I do. But I also know that humans are not ready to forgive, maybe not ever. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Nora Adams patrolled the corridors, checking on the humans stationed at the summit. She spoke with young soldiers, many of whom had never seen combat but carried memories of lost homes and families. They were angry and they were ready to fight if needed. Aaron found her later, leaning against the railing, watching the council representatives from a distance. You're quiet, he said. Thinking about what happens if things go wrong? Nora nodded. I'm thinking about what happens if we fail to protect ourselves. We can listen, but we can't trust them. Not fully, Aaron sighed, I know. And that is why we must be careful. Anger will guide some of us. Fear will guide others. But we have to make sure it doesn't destroy what remains of us. The second day of the summit began with more discussion. Council members spoke of peace, of rebuilding, of shared knowledge. They offered trade, technology, and alliances. But humans were not moved. They remembered the war too well. They remembered how the Council had once called humanity a threat that could not exist. Admiral Holt stood and addressed both humans and aliens. We are here because survival demands it. But make no mistake, humanity does not forgive lightly. We survived your attacks. We survived your lies. And we will survive again if we must. But we do not forget. Do not mistake our silence for weakness. Aaron felt the weight of her words. They were the truth of humanity, strong, proud, and unyielding. The council bowed slightly, acknowledging the warning, but their hope for reconciliation did not falter. During a private session, Laura met with Chancellor Varel. You must understand, she said. The humans you face are not the same as before. They are stronger, but they are also haunted by what you did. You cannot ask for forgiveness. You can only ask to be heard. Varel nodded. We understand. But if humanity refuses to act, even for the threat of the Voran, we may all perish. Our worlds will burn again and the galaxy will fall into chaos. Laura's eyes softened. Then perhaps understanding each other is the first step. If they see your fear, maybe they will choose to act, not for forgiveness, but for survival. Aaron watched from a distance as the discussions continued. He could see the struggle in every human face. Anger, grief, and pain fought against the hope for peace. He also saw young officers like Nora, whose memories of loss fueled their resolve. Humanity was not ready to forgive, but perhaps they were ready to protect life. Not because the council asked, but because it was the right thing to do. By the end of the second day, no agreements were made. The council had pleaded, shown images of suffering, and begged for understanding. Humanity had listened, but their silence was deafening. The room was filled with tension, history, and unspoken threats. The galaxy watched, and no one knew what would happen next. Aaron Blake stepped onto the observation deck once more, looking out at the stars. He thought about the next day, the decisions that would be made, and the young officers like Nora who would fight to defend humanity's honor. The journey of understanding had begun, but the path was fraught with anger, suspicion, and memories that refused to die. In the quiet of the station, Aaron whispered to himself. The third day of the summit began under a heavy silence. Humanity had listened to the Galactic Council, seen their images of suffering, and heard their words of apology. Yet no one on the human side moved toward forgiveness. The Council could feel it. Every glance, every measured breath of the humans spoke louder than words. They remembered. Captain Aaron Blake walked the corridors of the space station with Lieutenant Nora Adams. She had been on edge since they arrived. Her hands clutched the railing, and her eyes darted from shadow to shadow as though danger could appear anywhere. Aaron understood her caution. Humanity had been betrayed once. They could not risk it again. You're tense, Aaron said. Take a deep breath. We are not in danger, at least not yet. Nora shook her head. I can't help it. Every time I see one of them, I think about what they did to my parents. I think about my home colony burning, and I can't forget it. Aaron nodded. He understood perfectly. You're not alone. We all carry the memories. But if we let anger rule us, we might destroy what little peace we still have. Meanwhile, on Epsilon Prime, Chancellor Varel met with his advisors. The Threks were growing anxious. Humanity's refusal to forgive was expected, but their silence was unnerving. They will not forgive us, one of the younger Threks said. Their faces are hard, their eyes cold. Even our words of regret do not move them. Varel closed his eyes for a moment. We did not expect forgiveness. We expected judgment. But judgment without action can lead to disaster. Devoran dominion grows. Humanity's fleets are strong. If they do not act, countless worlds will fall. And this time, we may not survive. Back with the humans, Admiral Karen Holt called a private meeting with the delegation. Scientists, soldiers, and diplomats gathered in a quiet room. Holt's voice was firm and commanding. We have survived the worst the galaxy has thrown at us, she said. We have rebuilt. We have honored the dead. But now the Council asks for mercy. Do not forget, mercy is earned, not demanded. Humanity does not forgive lightly. We must remember that in every decision we make here. Laura Bennett spoke up. But Admiral, the Council is warning us about the Voran Dominion. If we refuse to act, they will destroy millions of lives. Isn't it possible to act without forgiving? Holt's eyes narrowed. Acting without forgiveness is the only choice. We can protect life without forgetting what was done to us. That is the balance we must maintain. Aaron stood quietly listening. He understood the weight of Holt's words. Humanity had been through unimaginable pain. To act now required not hope but calculation. And calculation was easier when anger burned brightly in one's chest. During a break, Aaron found himself in the observation deck again. The stars stretched endlessly before him. He thought of his brother Matthew, of his fallen comrades, and of the young officers who carried their own pain. Among them, Nora Adams shone with fire. She would fight for humanity with everything she had, but she also had the ability to question. That gave him hope. Captain, a voice called softly. It was Laura standing behind him. They're growing impatient. The Council does not understand our silence. They believe we are weak. Aaron shook his head. Weak? No. They do not understand that our silence is a warning. We survived because we did not forgive easily. And that lesson is written in the ashes of our worlds. Laura sighed. I know, but if the Voran attack grows stronger while we debate morality, the Council may be right. We may have to act anyway. Aaron did not answer. He stared at the distant stars. The galaxy was full of dangers, but none more complicated than the human heart. On Earth, news of the summit spread quickly. Colonists, citizens, and soldiers watched the transmissions. Public opinion divided into two camps. One side called for action, for humanity to rise as a force of peace and protection. The other side demanded isolation, arguing that the Council had tried to destroy them once and could not be trusted again. Protests erupted in major cities. In New York, Boston, and Chicago, humans gathered to voice their anger. We will not forgive, they shouted. We will remember. Signs and banners proclaimed humanity's survival and warned against trusting the aliens. The Human Alliance monitored the situation closely. Admiral Holt knew that public opinion could influence the summit. If humans on Epsilon Prime acted against the Council, it could ignite another war. She also knew that the anger on Earth was real and justified. Balancing these emotions would be one of her greatest challenges. Back on the space station, Aaron and Nora patrolled the perimeter. Security was tight. Council guards and human soldiers moved cautiously, aware that any sudden action could spark violence. Aaron glanced at Nora. "You think they might attack?" he asked. Nora shook her head. "Not yet. But they're watching us, waiting for a sign of weakness. And if we show it, they will try to take advantage." Aaron nodded. He understood the stakes. Humanity had survived a war because they never showed weakness. But showing strength without wisdom could be just as dangerous. During a private session, the Council revealed new intelligence. A holographic map displayed the outer rim of the galaxy, highlighting clusters of enemy fleets. The Voran Dominion had grown in power, moving quickly and without mercy. Planets were disappearing and the Council had no defense. Virel's voice was quiet, but urgent. "The Voran Dominion is rising. Their ships are faster, stronger, and more numerous than ever. If humanity refuses to join the fight, millions of lives will be lost." "This is not a request. It is a warning." The humans listened silently. Aaron studied the map. The Voran threat was real, but he also remembered the words of Admiral Holt. Humanity could act without forgiving. There was a chance to protect life without surrendering to mercy or forgetting the past. Laura stepped forward. "Captain Blake, do you see it? If we act now, we can save millions. Not because we forgive the Council, but because it is the right thing to do." Aaron nodded slowly. "I see it. But the humans here? They will not act blindly. We must show them that action does not equal forgiveness. That may be the only way we survive ourselves." Meanwhile, Nora Adams had taken it upon herself to speak with young officers and soldiers. She wanted them to understand that anger was necessary, but it must be controlled. She gathered a group in a quiet lounge. "Listen," she said. "I know what the Council did to our homes. I know what they did to our families. We cannot forgive them, but we also cannot let our hatred blind us. The Voran Dominion is coming, and if we do nothing, everyone we love will be in danger. Remember your anger, yes, but remember your duty too." The young soldiers listened, their faces a mixture of fear and resolve. They understood that protecting humanity did not mean trusting the Council. It meant acting on their own terms, guided by survival and honor. That evening, Aaron and Laura walked through the station's quiet halls. Outside, Epsilon Prime glowed softly, its oceans reflecting the light of distant suns. "Do you think humanity is ready?" Laura asked. Aaron shook his head. "Not yet. Not fully. We are angry and we are strong, but strength alone is not enough. Wisdom is what we need, and wisdom is always the hardest lesson to learn." Laura nodded. "Then maybe it is up to us to guide them, to show them that we can survive even without forgiving, to protect life even when the past is heavy." Aaron looked at her, a faint smile touching his lips. "Maybe. But guiding humans is like steering a storm. You never know which way it will turn." As the night passed, the humans prepared for the next day of the summit. They would listen, they would observe, and they would decide. The Council had pleaded for peace, but humanity's decision was not yet clear. Anger, grief, and the memory of loss were strong. Yet somewhere in the hearts of Captain Aaron Blake, Lieutenant Nora Adams, and Dr. Laura Bennett, a small light of hope remained. The galaxy waited. The Voran Dominion advanced, unseen but growing. Humanity's choice would soon be tested, not for forgiveness but for survival. Aaron stood on the observation deck one last time that night. The stars stretched endlessly, cold and distant. He whispered softly, "We survived the war, but the real test is still ahead, and we will face it, not as forgiving beings, but as humans." The silence of space pressed around him, and he knew that tomorrow, the summit would turn cold. Choices would be made. Humanity's anger and strength would clash with the Council's pleas, and the galaxy would watch, waiting for the humans to act. Weeks passed after the summit, and the tension did not ease. Humanity had listened to the Galactic Council, seen their pleas, and considered their warnings. But forgiveness was not on the table, and the Council had no choice but to leave the humans to their decision. The stars beyond Epsilon Prime were quiet for now, but danger moved silently in the outer rim. Reports began coming in from distant sectors. The Voran Dominion had begun their advance. Entire colonies vanished without a trace, fleets destroyed before they could react, cities turned to molten glass. The Council worlds, already weakened from past wars, could not defend themselves. Millions of lives were at risk. On the Liberty, Captain Aaron Blake studied the incoming reports. He stood in the command center, surrounded by officers who moved quickly but quietly. Each update was worse than the last. The Voran Dominion was larger than anyone had imagined, and their approach was relentless. Lieutenant Nora Adams entered the room. Her expression was tense. "Captain, the Council worlds are falling faster than we expected. Millions of civilians are at risk. The Council is asking for help, but the Admiral has refused." Aaron rubbed his forehead. "I know, Lieutenant. I understand the reasoning. Humanity does not forgive, and we do not trust them. But millions of innocents are dying, and if we do not act, they are lost." Nora's eyes hardened. "Then we act anyway, sir. We do what is right, even if it is not ordered." Aaron nodded slowly. He had been thinking the same thing. Humanity had survived through strength, yes, but also through compassion, though it was buried beneath layers of anger. Now that buried humanity was resurfacing. Meanwhile, Dr. Laura Bennett had already begun her mission. She had convinced a small team to accompany her to help the Council's refugees. The alien families were fleeing the Voran attacks, carrying only what they could. Their eyes were wide with fear, and their children clung to them, trembling. Laura spoke softly to them, trying to calm their panic. "We are here to help," she said. "You are safe with us." Aaron followed her secretly, ensuring security but also watching for signs of hesitation or rebellion among the humans. He understood that taking this action without approval from Admiral Holt could be seen as mutiny. Yet he also knew that saving lives was more important than orders. When they arrived on the first Council planet, the destruction was overwhelming. Buildings were leveled, streets burned, and smoke rose into the sky in thick black clouds. Aaron saw civilians running through the rubble, screaming for help, as Voran ships passed overhead, firing indiscriminately. A young alien child, no older than 6, ran toward them, crying. Aaron scooped the child up, shielding him with his body. Nora and Laura helped others, carrying injured civilians to the transport shuttles. It was chaos, but it was also the moment humanity's courage shone brightest, not through vengeance, but through mercy. Laura looked at Aaron, her face streaked with soot. "We can't save them all," she said, voice trembling. "But we can save some. That has to be enough," Aaron nodded. "It will have to be enough. We do what we can. That is all anyone can do." The team worked tirelessly. They moved from city to city, rescuing those who could be saved, providing first aid and guiding the survivors to the ships. Each life saved was a small victory against the tide of destruction. During a quiet moment, Aaron sat with the young alien child in his arms. The child's large, luminous eyes stared at him silently. Aaron whispered, "You're safe now. I promise you, no one will hurt you while I am here." The child did not speak but clung to him tightly. Aaron felt a strange warmth in his chest. He realized that humanity's strength was not only in their weapons or fleets, it was in their capacity for empathy, even when their hearts were full of anger. As the day passed, word reached the Liberty that a Voran fleet was heading toward the rescue ships. Aaron made a decision. Prepare the shuttles to move faster. We cannot engage in full combat, but we can protect the civilians. Defensive formations only. Nora Adams moved to execute his orders. Her hands flew over the controls. "Captain, the Voran ships are closing fast. They're more organized than we expected." Aaron took a deep breath. "Then we move faster. We protect the innocent first, ourselves second. That is our mission." Meanwhile, Laura tended to the injured. She worked quickly, cleaning wounds, applying bandages, and calming panicked survivors. She did not pause for rest, knowing every second counted. Aaron observed her quietly. "Laura, you never falter," he said. Laura shook her head. "I falter every moment in my heart, but I can't show it. If they see fear, it will spread. Courage must be louder than despair." As night fell over the ruined planet, the team gathered the last of the survivors. The ships lifted off just as the first Voran attack drones arrived. The humans fired defensive lasers, holding the drones back long enough for the civilians to escape. Explosions lit up the dark sky, a grim reminder of the Voran's power. Aaron steered the Liberty carefully. "Hold the formation," he ordered. "We cannot lose anyone now." Nora's voice was steady, though tension ran high. "Captain, we're almost clear. Just a few more minutes." Laura held the young child close, whispering soothing words. Slowly, the survivors relaxed as the Liberty and other shuttles moved into safe space. They were alive. They had survived the night. After the immediate danger passed, Aaron and Laura sat in the command room. Exhaustion pressed on them, but there was relief too. "We made a difference today," Laura said quietly. Aaron nodded. "Yes, and maybe today is the first day humanity acts without waiting for forgiveness. We saved lives because it was right, not because we were ordered. That is something the Council may never understand." Nora Adams entered the room, her face weary but determined. "Captain, we need to plan the next move. The Vorin are advancing faster than intelligence predicted. More civilians will need our help." Aaron stood. "Then we help them. Again and again until we can't help anymore. That is our choice, and that is humanity's strength." Back on Epsilon Prime, news of the human rescue efforts began to reach the Council worlds. Many were surprised. The humans had refused to forgive, yet they were risking themselves to save alien lives. Whispers spread among the Threks and other species. Humanity was different now. They were no longer just angry survivors. They were protectors, even when it did not benefit them directly. Chancellor Varel observed the reports with a mixture of relief and awe. "They will not forgive us," he said quietly to his advisors, "but they are choosing to protect life. That is something far greater than forgiveness. That is humanity." Meanwhile, on the Liberty, Aaron, Laura, and Nora prepared for the next mission. They knew it would not be easy. The Vorin Dominion would continue to advance and the Council worlds remained fragile. But they also knew that humanity had found a new path, a path not of vengeance, not of anger, but of action guided by conscience. Aaron looked out of the observation window at the stars. "The galaxy is changing," he said. "We are changing too. Anger keeps us alive, yes, but mercy, when we can muster it, is what will save us all." Nora glanced at him. "Do you think humanity is ready for that? To act without anger guiding every decision?" Aaron smiled faintly. "Not yet. But we are learning. And every life we save, every choice we make brings us closer." Laura joined them at the window. "And maybe, just maybe, one day humanity will understand that helping others does not mean forgiving them. It means being human." Aaron nodded. "Yes, that is the lesson we must carry forward. Not forgiveness yet, but humanity, in all its strength and mercy." As the Liberty prepared to set course for the next Council world, the galaxy watched. The Vorin Dominion advanced relentlessly, but the humans acted as a shield, choosing to protect life even when old wounds still burned. In the quiet of space, Captain Aaron Blake, Lieutenant Nora Adams, and Dr. Laura Bennett knew that humanity had not yet forgiven, but they had begun to act as the galaxy's true guardians. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, cold and distant yet alive with possibility. Humanity had survived the war. Now it was learning what it meant to survive itself. The galaxy held its breath. Humanity had survived war after war, but now it faced a new threat, the Vorin Dominion. The alien fleet was vast, moving through space like a shadow, destroying everything in its path. Entire Council worlds were in danger, and humans could no longer ignore the consequences of their choices. Captain Aaron Blake stood on the bridge of the Liberty, staring at the holographic map of the galaxy. Red dots indicated Vorin fleets, spreading like wildfire across the outer rim. Each dot represented destruction, death, and despair. Lieutenant Nora Adams was at his side, fingers flying over the controls. "Captain, the Vorin are closer than predicted. We will reach the first Council world in less than 6 hours, and their fleets are already engaged with the defense forces." Aaron nodded. "Then we move now. Defensive formations only. Protect the civilians. No offensive unless we have no choice." Nora's eyes softened briefly. "Sir, I know why we fight. But sometimes I wonder if survival is enough. Can humanity make a difference without forgiveness?" Aaron looked at her. "We don't need forgiveness. We need action. We act because it is right, because life matters, not because anyone forgives us." In the command center, Dr. Laura Bennett coordinated medical and rescue teams. Shuttles were ready to evacuate civilians from the Council worlds. Laura moved quickly, her calm voice cutting through panic. "Board the shuttles, stay calm. We will get you to safety." The first world they reached was Tyrus Prime. The city was under attack, Voran ships streaking across the sky, dropping explosives that ignited fires across the surface. Smoke rose in thick clouds, and the screams of terrified civilians echoed through the communication channels. Aaron gritted his teeth. "Nora, we cover the evacuation routes. Keep the civilians moving. Do not engage the Voran directly unless we must." Nora nodded. "Understood, sir. Let's save as many as we can." Shuttles lifted off one by one, carrying families, children, and the injured. Aaron watched as people clung to each other, terrified but alive. The humans acted without hesitation, their anger buried beneath determination to protect life. Laura treated the wounded on the shuttles. Blood-streaked faces and broken limbs were all around her. She whispered words of encouragement, holding hands, and offering hope where there seemed to be none. Every life saved strengthened her resolve. Hours passed. The humans moved from city to city, clearing civilians and securing evacuation points. The Voran attacked relentlessly, but the humans adapted, guiding shuttles, defending routes, and coordinating with council forces. Aaron found himself on the ground in a ruined city, assisting with the evacuation personally. He carried an injured alien child on his back, dodging debris and laser fire. Beside him, Nora helped a group of civilians to a waiting shuttle. The scene was chaos, but humanity's will was stronger than the destruction surrounding them. At one point, a Voran attack drone appeared unexpectedly, firing at the evacuation line. Aaron raised the ship's portable defense cannon and fired, destroying the drone before it could hit anyone. Nora looked at him. "Captain, this is madness. There are too many of them." Aaron did not answer. His focus was absolute. Each life mattered. Each person saved was a victory against the horror of war. Humanity had survived before, and now they were proving that survival could include mercy without forgetting. By the time the last shuttle left Tyrus Prime, the city was in ruins. Fires burned unchecked, and the Voran fleet moved onward, leaving death behind. But hundreds of civilians had survived. Hundreds owed their lives to humans who did not forgive, but acted anyway. The convoy set course for the next council world. The Voran fleet had noticed the human ships, and now they approached with hostile intent. The humans prepared for a defensive engagement, not to attack, but to shield the fleeing civilians. Aaron looked at the young officers on the bridge. "This is not vengeance, this is protection. Remember that. Our strength is not in destroying them. Our strength is in defending life." Nora Adams gripped the railing. "Understood, sir. Let's make sure everyone gets out alive." Laura coordinated the medical teams again. "We are almost there. Hold your courage. Hold your hearts. We can save them." The Voran fleet engaged cautiously, recognizing the humans' determination. Aaron maneuvered the ship strategically, using defensive formations to shield the shuttles. Lasers and explosions lit up space, but the humans remained steady, saving lives while minimizing their own casualties. During a quiet moment, Aaron and Laura watched the evacuation from the observation deck. "We're not forgiven," Aaron said quietly. "And we are not seeking it. But look at what we are doing," Laura nodded. "Yes. We are proving that humanity is more than anger. We are proving that life is sacred, even to those who once tried to destroy us." Nora entered the room, sweaty and tired. "Captain, all shuttles are in safe orbit. Civilians are secured. The Voran are retreating temporarily. They won't give up, but we bought time." Aaron smiled faintly. "Then we continue. Humanity doesn't wait for permission to do what is right. We act." The next council world, Arlen Prime, was larger, more populated, and under heavier attack. Voran forces were concentrated here. The humans had no choice but to engage directly if they wanted to save the civilians. Aaron made a decision. "Nora, prepare the escort ships. Laura, ready the shuttles for immediate boarding. We engage only to protect the evacuees." The battle began. Voran ships moved swiftly, firing on both human and council ships. Aaron's fleet met them with precise defensive maneuvers. Explosions rocked the void of space, but every human ship was focused on shielding the shuttles. Nora's hands moved quickly over the controls, firing defensive cannons, dodging enemy fire, and guiding the shuttles. "Captain, they are stronger here. We may lose ships if we continue like this." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we fight smart. Protect the civilians first. That is our priority." Laura's medical team worked tirelessly, helping those injured during the evacuation. "We are running out of space on the shuttles," she shouted. "We need more efficiency," Aaron coordinated with precision. "Use the smaller shuttles first, load children and injured, leave adults who can move for later. Efficiency saves more lives than speed alone." Hours passed. The humans engaged the Vorin, protecting civilians while sustaining minimal losses. Every ship that survived, every life saved, was proof of humanity's power and purpose. Finally, as the last civilian shuttle lifted off safely, Aaron watched the Vorin retreat. They had underestimated the humans' determination and strategy. Humanity had not forgiven, but they had acted, proving their strength extended beyond anger. In the aftermath, the Council worlds were in shock. The humans had risked themselves to protect alien lives, even after centuries of betrayal. Whispered conversations spread quickly. Humanity did not forgive easily, but they acted with honor, courage, and mercy. Chancellor Virel addressed the Council. "They will not forgive us, but they are different now. They are not only survivors, they are protectors. This is something even the Vorin must respect." Back on the Liberty, Aaron, Nora, and Laura gathered. The bridge was quiet except for the hum of the engines. Aaron looked at them both. "We saved lives today. That is what matters. Forgiveness will come in its own time, if at all. But humanity has shown that we are more than vengeance. We are more than anger. We are capable of protecting life even when the past burns in our hearts." Nora nodded. "We acted, not because we forgave, but because it was right. That makes us strong." Laura smiled faintly. "And maybe one day, that strength will be enough to make the galaxy see what humanity truly is. Not monsters, not savages, but humans, resilient, determined, and brave." Aaron stepped to the observation window. The stars stretched endlessly, cold yet alive with possibility. "We survived the war, we survived the anger, and now we survive ourselves. Humanity's story is not over. It has only begun." As the Liberty set course for the next mission, the galaxy watched in awe. The Vorin Dominion remained a threat, but the humans had proven that even without forgiveness, they could act with honor. Humanity had survived war, survived hatred, and now they were learning to survive with courage and conscience. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and humanity moved forward, not for forgiveness, not for praise, but because it was the right thing to do. And somewhere in the quiet of the galaxy, Aaron Blake whispered, "We are human, and that is enough to change everything."